Folks at home, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about what to do in the fall when your reaction baits are not working. You're throwing the trap, you're throwing the chatterbait, and they're not working. What do you do next? Let's dive into it. Got a bunch of underwater to show you today. Let's go. Monster. Let's go. If you guys have been watching the channel lately, you know I've been straight up murdering fish on rattle traps right now. And that's because in the fall, you got to cover water, you got to find transition areas, you really got to work to find where those fish are. And when you find them, you can absolutely light them up throwing the trap. But what do you do when the trap doesn't work? Or my other fall time favorite, when the chatterbait doesn't work? What do you do to get bites when it's tough? Well, the first thing that you got to do is slow down. The second thing you got to do is find bass that are relating to the bottom. If you can find bass that are belly on the bottom and hard cover, you're gonna catch them in the fall. So let's talk about the 4 baits that I use to really lean on that. So in the fall, those bait fish come shallow, those bluegill follow, those crawfish comes out. As the water goes from 60s into 50s, that high 50s, there's a great reaction bite. You can smack them on that trap, on that chatterbait. But once that water gets a little bit colder, those bass are gonna move and hold to that bottom structure tighter, and you need to put lures on the bottom to catch them. The first lure that I'm gonna pick up when the bite gets tough is the Finesse jig. Now, I like to fish 2 different styles of Finesse jigs. They're the same styles, colors, I mean, in different situations, right? So these are 3/8 ounce brush jigs, and I have one in a bluegill pattern, and I have one in a green pumpkin crawfish pattern. If the water color is clear, I am going to go with the green pumpkin black flake. Now, the trailer that I like to throw this time of the year is a cut down Berkley Havoc Pit Boss in green pumpkin black flake. And I like this bait because it has a nice subtle glide and fall. It has action if you give it action, but if you fish it on the bottom, it has subtle action. I am a firm believer, if you've watched the channel a bunch, that this bait right here is one of the best soft plastics ever made. I have the ultimate confidence in the Pit Boss when money's on the line. If you put this on the back of a Finesse jig and you crawl it through areas where there is a hard bottom substrate and structure, rock, shell beds, timber, hard where you know that the bottom is hard. One of my favorites, where lily pads used to be. Wind blowing in where lily pads used to be, flip a jig up there, you're gonna catch some fish. Now, the beauty of this in clear water, I fish my own jigs that I made. This is a brush puppy head right here from Lure Parts Online that I pour. And then that 3/8 ounce jig this time of the year, it's a slow falling jig, but you can still cast it a long ways. And I'm straight up going to drag this bait with small hops. Remember, as the water is cooling off, things are not moving as quickly. And if you can't catch them on a moving bait like a trap or a chatterbait, you really need to slow down and milk high percentage areas. Clear water, green pumpkin, black flake is the color to go to. In dirty water, or if you're around bluegill, I use this special bluegill colored jig that I like to tie. If you look at this jig, it's got some orange in it, it's got that blue and black flake, and it's got that bluegill color painted head that I like. Brush puppy jig because I'm throwing it everywhere. Now, the trailer that I like to use this time of year is a sapphire blue. Don't ask me why, but a blue sapphire Pit Boss, or my other favorite trailer here is a Bass Pro Shops special Clacking Craw, and I cut those tails off of it, so it's just got those 2 flapping pinchers. This is a perfect Finesse jig. And when I throw this is up under docks, around standing timber, anywhere that I see bluegill, and especially this time of year, those small bluegill are gonna come in, you can throw this. But the beauty of this is you can drag it on the bottom, you can hop it and pop it, you can do a whole bunch of stuff. Jigs are super versatile this time of year. That's the first slow moving bait that I'm gonna pick up. Plus, if you fish a jig over a Texas rig or over a, you know, a Ned rig, you're gonna get bigger bites. The jig, hey, jigs all day for big fish. They catch big fish. The next thing that I'm going to do, if I'm in a bluegill dominated fishery, I'm going to pick up the Mega Bass Dark Sleeper Gill in 3/8 ounce or 1/2 ounce. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bumble this jig along the bottom. Now, what I mean by bumble it along the bottom, literally I'm gonna cast it out there, let it fall, and I'm going to slow wind it through those rocks. And what you notice when you do this is that tail starts wagging side to side, that head down posture goes, you make a little bit of a dirt trail. What it looks like is a bluegill that's finding insect. Insect hatches are big this time of year, especially if the sun comes out and the water warms up in the shallows. The bluegill come up to eat bugs that are hatching or still in the dirt that they can find, blood larvae, things like that. And you can watch the bluegill shallow. I watch them in the pond all the time. I watch them in the lake. They move shallow around rocks and they try to eat those last insect larvae that they can find before they move out deep for the winter. In the fall, you can find fish shallower than you think. Up here, there's a great channel bite right before ice out. 3-4 foot of water back in these channels. Bass will be stacked in there because bluegill are stacked in there. Under the ice, you can catch a whole bunch of bluegill in channels. Matter of fact, that's where the guys hammer them during early ice. Big crappie, big bluegill, all those fish come in. That is what bass are eating. It is a high calorie protein meal for them. They don't have to work hard to get it. That Dark Sleeper bumbles along the bottom. You can swim it just like a swim bait. You can fish it like a jig. It's gonna get bit. Give it a try. If those three don't work, then I'm going to go to the Shaky Head, and this time of the year on the Shaky Head, I'm gonna put a Rattle Worm 4.5. I'm gonna put a Rattle Worm 4.5 because, especially in this pumpkin party color right here, this red and green flake, it looks like a perch. Up here, I've talked about the perch bite before. The perch bite on fish gets really good in the late fall through the winter and up to ice up because those perch come in shallow. They chase bait fish, they chase bugs, they chase all those things shallow, and they are on the menu. The Rattle Worm 4.5 stands up. It gives a rattle in that water on a Woo Tungsten Shaky Head, but most importantly, it looks like a perch. And if you can match the hatch this time of year, see that tail up and that rattle going, you can really smack some fish. The other thing that I like to do with this is I like to fish sand spots. If you find a sandy area with weed edges, you throw this Rattle Worm in the reed edges and weed edges, you're gonna catch bass, especially on sunny, calm days when they sit down on the bottom. Guys, those are 4 lures to throw if you're not getting bites on a chatterbait, you're not getting bites on a trap. Now, with that being said, when the water moves into that 50-degree range, you can catch them a lot of different ways until you got calm, sunny days or until you've got adverse conditions. Literally, cold fronts this time of the year are the days you want to fish because it doesn't affect them. Sunny days have more of an effect on bass because they come up, it's like the springtime when they come up shallow, they won't bite anything, they're sunning their eggs, they're trying to suck up those last rays of warmth, right? Honorable mention would be that 6th Sense Fishing Panorama Shad on a wobble head. This time of year, if you've got dying gizzard shad in your lake, this is a great pattern to throw weightless on sand spots or on a wobble jig head down on those rock areas. It looks like a dying gizzard shad. Great profile to throw as a bonus 5th bait in there. So try these baits out. All of these baits are linked on our description. Go to Omnia, get those baits, help support there. Go to Handing, buy baits from them, help support there. The more you guys support us on the channel, the more videos we can do. We want to make videos that you guys want to watch that help you become better anglers. We're not in it for the money, we're in it for the content. We want to teach people how to fish, and we want to make fishing accessible for everybody. We're not guys that are gonna come out here and push live scope and push stuff that doesn't work. Everything that we talk about on this channel is stuff that we've done. So give us a like, give us a subscribe. Go hit those links up in our bio. Help out the channel, guys. We'll see you next time.